Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining in. Um, First of all, like last time we spoke about Corona and Smile being relatives because they both spread pretty fast, and we need to make sure that we have to spread Smiles and not Corona. We have to stop Corona. So please make sure whatever the guidelines, as per the new norms, please follow that, adhere to that. It's still there. Don't be relaxed. Take care of yourself and your family members. Okay, on that note, on the series of wellness program, today on the Thoughtful Thursday, we have someone who is very, very special. And to be very frank, I don't think she needs any introduction. But still, since we have invited her, I think it's part of my job to formally introduce her, and that's what I'll do. So let me start the session today formally, officially now.
Uh, Captain Saab, there is no voice. I'm not able to hear.
Yeah, because I'm not saying anything. For a moment, I'm speechless. The aura and the personality today I'm talking about as a speaker is such. At times I need words to really speak up, and most of you know me. I've been doing these sessions for years now. Generally I don't read out any material. I Whatever comes to my mind I talk about that, but today I don't want to take any chances. So apart from the fact that I'm personally a big fan of hers, I still thought I've got so many messages from you guys all across, uh, and hopefully we'll get an opportunity. We'll see to whatever extent possible. And there's a Q&A session. You guys can ask questions. But before that, let me now not waste time and quickly introduce her. Like they say, success is a natural end result of talent, passion, and hard work. I think our guest today is someone who best exemplifies this adage. She's someone who wears multiple hats, and she has not just been successful, I would say she's been highly successful in everything she has been involved in throughout her life. Guys, we are privileged and honored to have Amla Akkineni with us today. Amla, being a brilliant Bharatanatyam dancer who passionately pursued the craft, completed with a fine arts degree in Bharatanatyam from Kalkshetra College of Fine Arts at Chennai, where she performed as part of Kalkshetra dance troupe and achieved a lot of fame and recognition as a dancer. It was her accomplishments as a dancer that got her noticed by one of the biggest directors in the Tamil film industry, and she was signed for his next major production. Sure enough, she gave one hit after another in film after film. She had a very successful career in the Indian cinema, and I think this era was from 1986 to 1992. She completed about 50 films as a leading lady, and the best part is that these were in five different languages: so Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada, and Hindi. Not only were her movies commercially very successful, I can say that she has won multiple awards, the way and even the most coveted Filmfare Awards. I think after a gap of 20 years, now in 2012, she has re-entered the film world, playing select cameo roles in Telugu, Malayalam, and Hindi films, TV, and obviously the famous OTT web series, what we talk about. On a personal note, married to a film actor, again a very well-known personality and producer, Akkineni Nagarjuna. She lives in Hyderabad with her son, Akhil, and elderly parents. And I'm sure a lot of you know, Akhil himself is a very well-known star these days. We normally watch a lot of movies these days on different channels, and he is one of our favorites. So again, I think that's one thing which is known to all of us. With that, Amla also co-founded along with her husband Nagarjuna Blue Cross of Hyderabad. This is an animal welfare organization working for the last 28 years in Hyderabad. Blue Cross has helped more than 450,000 animals since its inception. Guys, 450,000. Imagine what number we are talking about. It currently runs a veterinary hospital and a training facility with focus on conducting sterilization operations for stray animals. The key objective is to reduce animal suffering on the street. A lot of us, and especially personalities, I would say, they talk a lot about these things, but I think we have someone, this is a true example that she believed in it and she has done a lot of work in this direction. So again, hats off to her. Again, Amla has worked for the last 20 years supporting various non-governmental and government organizations on the boards as a trustee for social change, addressing a variety of social issues. I hope you know that she received the most prestigious Nari Shakthi Award from the Honorable President of India in 2017. Her background in films and her social commitment led her to be appointed as director, Annapurna College of Film and Media. This is set up in the heart of Annapurna Studios in Hyderabad. In this management and mentoring role, Amla basically holds a live dream of Akkineni Nageshwara Rao to guide young people on an informed path for professions in film and media. Like I said in the beginning, she wears multiple hats, guys. I think I'll not take more time now. There is so much I can talk about her. It can take another 60 minutes, which is the duration of a session. So I'll stop here. On that note, I would like to welcome you, ma'am, on behalf of the fraternity. As of now, we have few hundreds of people who have logged in. And just to let you know, we log in with our family members. This is the only time during day we have allowed all members to participate with their family members. So when we say we have few hundred people, we multiply that with few number of people, because as a family, everyone attend these programs. So with that note, ma'am, once again, thank you so much for joining it today. And the most important aspect is the request was from our side to hear from you on a very, very interesting topic, which was about finding one's purpose through service. It looks like very highly intellectual sort of a topic, but knowing you, your personality, I know how easily, how smoothly you convey everything. So we are looking forward for a pretty interactive session for next whatever 60 minutes or so. So on that note, ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, Captain Rajesh. This is such an honor, such a privilege to be here connected with all of you from GACS. And it's the monsoon here in Hyderabad. Today is the first day of the monsoon. The rains have started. So the power is fluctuating. It's going off and on. So if I disappear for a few seconds, please continue chatting and I will log on as soon as my generator kicks in. So just giving you that update. I love the monsoon, so my spirits are really up today, and I'm looking forward to sharing with all of you a little bit about my journey, only with the hope that you may connect with things that I figured out, and I figured out my purpose through service. So which is why I wanted to share this with all of you. So I've put together a few slides. I'm a little forgetful and I wander off. So a few slides help me kind of stay on point and just make sure that I say all that I had a plan to say. Yeah, so I'm going to share a slide here if that's okay.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Great. And I'm going to go.
We can see the slide. Yeah.
There. Lovely. So, so finding one's purpose through service. So I tried to say all this in a TEDx talk for some students, but while I did package it, it kind of came across, the emotion and the point did come across, but it's at the same time, so much more I thought I could say, and which is why I chose the same topic today. Most of us go through life with, the upbringing. It depends on the cultural stories that you've been told. You must get a good job, have a respectable profession, have a family, make a lot of money, be successful, etc., etc. But I didn't have those narratives when I was growing up. And so I wanted to share at the beginning, the proudest moment for me was at the Nari Shakthi Award. And it wasn't because I was getting an award from the president. I had met him several times. I had taken pictures with him. I had attended august gatherings where we had tea parties at the presidential uh, office, but it was more meeting the 30 other amazing women at Nari Shakthi. And when that happened, I became aware of truly what a privilege it was to be a woman. And I thought I would start with this moment because, you know, as men, you may not realize you've probably had opportunity and you know the path. I'm not saying you haven't struggled. I'm not demeaning your journey at all. I'm just saying that it hasn't been so easy for us women. We were brought up with all kinds of stereotypes. You know, whether it's gender-oriented stereotypes, but it's also things like if you are intelligent, you need to be topper in the class. If you want to have a profession that's respectable, you have to be an engineer or a doctor, and you know, stuff like that. Girls, boys are very important. They take care of their parents. Girls need to dress certain way and behave certain way, and these truly are the stereotypes that I grew up in, and I consider myself a liberated Indian woman. But here, when I was in the presence of these 30 women who had done such daring, different things, and it was like I had connected to my tribe. There was Nandita Shah, who was bringing health to people through a plant-based lifestyle. She found that by turning to a plant-based diet, you could reverse diabetes and heart disease. And she was being honored. And there was Sangeeta Iyer, who was a documentary filmmaker and a journalist, a television journalist. And she had made this very deeply moving documentary on temple elephants, bringing to life the torture and cruelty and abuse that we met out to these animals that we consider sacred. There was Elsa Kohler, who had transformed the lives of certain tribals who were who depended on camels for their livelihood. And there was Ringyuch and Rupa Kalyani, who were yoga experts, scientists, social worker, journalist, filmmaker, and there were so many of them telling their stories on camera and on stage about their journey. And it was truly the proudest moment to be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with them, which is when I decided that, you know, if India isn't what it's capable of being, it's because we have not let our women shine. And half of India still needs to shine. And so that's my proudest moment. And I'm going to move on. It didn't start like, you know, I wasn't a winner when I was young. I was just a normal kid. I had wonderful parents. I have Irish, Bengali parents, and I was born in Bengal. My parents were both naval officers. Mom was with the British Navy, dad was with the Indian Navy, and we moved around a lot. Of course, mom quit the British Navy and she stayed home to look after us. We moved around a lot, and because of that, she homeschooled me till about the age of 6. And when I went to a real school in Vizag, we moved to Vizag after Bengal, I found it very difficult to adapt. And while I was struggling, I discovered dance. And dance, I was still very young, 7 or 8 years old. I saw the dance, I fell in love with the dance, I learned the dance, and then my parents sent me to Kalakshetra, which had a school and a college, and dance was a very key part, or classical arts was a very key part of our training. And I learned to use the dance to break things into doable steps, and I was able to pick myself up and find my way. And this is, I think, the charm that either a classical arts training does or sports training does. It gives you that that process, that practice. Kalakshetra had a beautiful artistic practice which it imbibed in me. You know, when you say I'm a dancer, it means that I am practicing 3 to 4 hours a day. So today I don't say I'm a dancer, I say I was a dancer, but at that time I was practicing 3 to 4 hours a day, whether you perform or not. And that 3 to 4 hours of personal practice is what makes you a dancer. And that's the creative practice that I imbibed in. And that was my graduation. And at that time, I realized that dance wasn't the career I was looking for. And in my introduction, you've already said that I did all these different movies, and I chose movies, and I really enjoyed movies because I found I could be different people and different characters. You don't have to wait for a next life. I could be Dr. Lalita, or I could be the tomboy Anjali, or I could be Officer So, or I could be a psychic. And you know, it's a wonderful outlet for a creative individual. I also met my husband, and I started a new chapter with a new role, marrying my husband. Incidentally, we had a very sweet little wedding at my Kalakshetra prayer hall. We went back to Kalakshetra in the prayer hall, and about 30 people. It was lovely. My teachers were there, and we got married, and I moved to Hyderabad. So in Hyderabad, of course, I started a journey of self-discovery. I realized I didn't have to be hectically occupied like I had been since the age of 13, rehearsing 3-4 hours a day, traveling, performing. And in the movies, I was living out of a suitcase in hotel rooms, constantly shooting for different films across the country. So I took some time off and I did some self-discovery. I also discovered that there were sick and dying animals all on the streets of Hyderabad, and my house became the rescue home. And we started rescuing and looking after sick animals at home till Nagarjuna suggested that we do it in a more organized fashion. It was his idea. And I thought, what a great idea. And we started Blue Cross of Hyderabad. He donated my first ambulance, and we tied up with the government veterinary hospital that would allow us to put our animals there. And then that's how Blue Cross started. A whole community of animal-friendly people came and joined us, and they became our friends and our teams to go on to this work. I also came in touch with a family much larger than life, you know, from a naval background and a solo actor. Suddenly I was in the midst of great actors. I had filmmakers and actors around me. My father-in-law is a legend. My mother-in-law, an absolute angel. She was a second mother to me, and I had inherited my stepson, Chaitanya, and his wife is also an actor, Samantha, and so many filmmakers and actors in the family. It was like coming home. So beautiful. My family grew and my tribe grew. So the people who were animal friendly, I said, who became my team, there they are 28 years later. Imagine us all as scrawny youngsters trying to get together an animal welfare movement when there was nothing in the city. In the process of starting and running Blue Cross, we set up a veterinary hospital, an animal shelter, and we have 4 ambulances now. We worked with street animals, companion animals, farm animals, working animals, circus animals, those in entertainment, you know, lab animals, temple animals, and then of course, wildlife. Now, at that time, there was a need for all of this. But as time passed, a lot of laws changed. The world changed, awareness grew, people, the government also revised laws, and many of these things were taken care of by the system. They didn't need us to do it anymore. But at that time, we had to do so much, and we were doing everything. At one point, I've come to meditation is at one point when we had started work, all this work, there was a point where I was overwhelmed and kind of near a breakdown of my belief in my abilities, a breakdown in my belief in humanity, simply because, are you hearing the rain? Simply because when you start looking at suffering, you know, you start providing service to suffering, you uncover many, many, many layers and oceans of suffering, which at least I realized that there was nothing I could do to change the world, and that there was, no matter what I did, it wasn't going to be enough. And I say that because it happens. I think every compassionate, passionate person may go through this dip when you see, and you know, when you start helping, you start working for an NGO, you set up an NGO, all the politics start. Suddenly everybody wants their logo and their name there, and you know, they'll come and pose in the photograph, but in the actual work, they won't be there. And you see these very strange behaviors, which otherwise they are perfectly dignified and decent people. So, and then no matter what you do, the waves and waves of suffering and animals keep coming. And it wasn't just human suffering we were uncovering. I mean, not just animal suffering, but we were uncovering human suffering as well, and the poverty. And so I decided that, you know, I can't lead a movement, I can't do any significant work if I don't deal with myself first. So I stepped back and I decided I'm going to take some time off and I'm going to figure out how to deal with suffering. And one fine morning, I opened the newspaper and I see this beautiful smiling face of Satyanarayana Goenka, who was the world teacher for Vipassana, the meditation. And the caption of the newspaper said, "The way out of suffering, talks by Satyanarayana Goenka." And it was the teachings of the Buddha. So I said, great, this is, you know, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and I went for the talks and I listened to them with full excitement and enthusiasm. And it was like water in a thirsty desert. I decided to go for the course. I was 7-8 months pregnant at the time. And I found my way there. My husband very reluctantly let me go. You know, your pregnant wife and all that, he was worried. But he could see the need. And it was the most difficult course I have ever done because I had to look within. And this iceberg, this demonstration is what I wanted to explain to you. So we always see, if we look at the iceberg, we see only the success. We see the profile that Captain Rajesh read out to you, all these wonderful things that I have achieved, but all that has gone into it, and all the times I had doubt, and all the times I cried that I had failed, all the animals that had died in those 500,000 animals that we were able to help, maybe 40% had died, or 60% maybe now. I mean, they also die of old age. So there is always two sides to a story. And I'm sure there are two sides in everybody's story. In each one of you, when you will look at your iceberg and you see your achievements, you will also remember all those dark nights that you spent lamenting and regretting. So when you go to meditate, when you first sit to meditate and you close your eyes, the you that is in the conscious part, the top of the iceberg is the conscious you, is stilled, right? And the you in the depth of your subconscious, which is all the past, they start to live. And so when you close the eyes and you begin to meditate, all your demons and your skeletons and your the things you would rather not deal with, they rise up, and that's when you want to run away. That's the difficulty, nothing else. And I'm gonna just stop sharing here and just say that it was in this difficulty that I was able to deal with all those the reaction I was having to suffering, the reaction I was having to the politics, the reaction I was having to all that was so difficult to digest. And I learned to calm myself down, and I learned to forgive and forget, and I learned to process those. I kind of came to my own emotional maturity, you know, you can say your emotional maturity takes place. And I used to get very angry at injustice, and my anger would flare up, and I learned to calm that anger and use it more for understanding what needs to be done, you know, sharpening my focus to what needs to be done. And that really, really helped me. I know we've spoken, there may be some of you who were there at the other session, I'm not sure, but we spoke about meditation, and I always try to include this little bit of meditation because I think it's a very precious tool that humanity has, and we don't use it enough. It's a precious tool to be able to deal with your the part of you that people don't embrace, the part of you that we suppress, the part of you that haunts you at night and makes you have those breakdowns. It deals with all of that, cleanses it, lets them go, lets the ghost go, and then you come out totally free. And that's the joy you see in a meditator's face, the roshni that, you know, the aura that you see around the Buddha, and the joy you see in a meditator's face. Perhaps the also the peace that I've dealt with all those demons, you know, I'm at peace now. And I'm inviting all of you to explore if you have the need. I'm going to go back to the presentation, and that's okay. What else? So I was able to do so much more after that, because then I was free of my own emotional baggage. And then, so whenever something would happen, I would just take a deep breath, calm myself down, and my mind would be able to go sharply to what needs to be done, assess the situation, understand what needs to be done, deliver. And it's quite liberating. I think it's a professional need as well, right? any profession would love to have that. So we got to do some incredible things. We train veterinarians, we focus on ABC, we do 1,000 surgeries a month, and it just goes like clockwork. And no matter what the shouting and screaming is from the world at us and the blame game, it just falls off. We're all like rhino skin. It doesn't bother us, and because we understand it comes from ignorance, and ignorance comes from a lot of fear. The need to understand comes from curiosity, and so we try to bring in curiosity and more information when people are unhappy with what we do. I also started working with United Way Hyderabad, and United Way Hyderabad does some amazing work. I don't know if you've heard of it. We work in all these different areas, and we've done a lot of COVID relief. I've also worked with like 20 different organizations, both environmental and women and child welfare and HIV awareness and all the rest of it. I have this picture from the Daily Calm. I don't know if you've tried that app. And if you can turn I into we, every day there is a need to feel humanity to us. In the journey of life, you bump into each other, and whether it's ideological, or whether it's tension to deliver deadlines, or whether it's miscommunication, or whether it's even during this COVID pandemic times, there's a distant fatigue that we've all. Not a distance fatigue. What am I saying? There's a digital fatigue, and there's a detachment which has come about. But whatever it is, in service, we can find purpose, we can find satisfaction, we can find meaning, whether it's to the community, the planet, the family, the team, the meditation. Today, I'm director of Annapurna College of Film and Media. Here you see my master's students. They're all young filmmakers on their graduation day, and we've got some members of the family with us and some members from the industry with us. We offer, I'll just tell you a little bit about it. Please bear with me. I'm extremely passionate about what I do in my professional role as Annapurna College, because I believe, let's say, in finding meaning and wanting to connect for social change, we need to be able to tell stories. We need to be able to tell stories that matter. And film and media is all about telling stories, and we tell it either through scripts, through documentary, through technology. But we need to be able to tell these stories if we really want to make a change, right? Because like I said, I grew up with all these stereotypes. The characters, every Saturday, we would go down to the naval base where we'd watch a matinee Hindi movie, whether it was Ramesh with P or Raju Hirani. We would watch one Hindi movie and come home. Oh, that was like the entertainment for the week. But all those female characters were stereotypes. They were the ones that made me believe that this is what a woman is. But when I saw Sita or Geeta, I loved it. I thought, arey, nobody told me this. So I take my role as director of Annapurna College of Film and Media very seriously. Not that I believe that films are to educate humanity. No, we are in the entertainment business. There is no There's no doubt about that. The kind of money it costs to make a film, you have to have a commercial value. Otherwise, you might as well make documentary for YouTube. So, and even that costs money, you know. So I'm not saying that we are bringing in social workers through this college. We're bringing storytellers, but storytellers who can tell stories that can transform the stereotype, that can move away and tell stories that can make a difference, that can make human beings shine, that can make human beings believe in themselves. And the way we do it, of course, are through these beautifully designed courses. We have a bachelor's for young people with all these different specializations. We've got a master's for students whose parents have said, no, nothing doing engineering padho, law padho, medical padho. And then they finish their course and then they say, but my heart is not in it. I want to go and do my master's in film and media, and then the parents allow them. So you've got a lot of that. All of them come from that. And then we've got short courses as well as online. We've started an online essentials of filmmaking. We're building a beautiful new campus. Currently, we're in Annapurna Studios, which is a 40-year-old campus. My father-in-law had an 80-year history in cinema. And we have this beautiful new campus coming up with state-of-the-art facilities. And our education philosophy is based on education for future creative careers. You know, when you get a driving license, for us, the bachelor's is like this driving license, which takes you into the film world. You get a driving license and you stand at the edge of the road. Your driving instructor wouldn't have told you, you know, on such and such a date, this bike rider is going to cut you. And, you know, you're going to have a fender bender. And so you got to be really tight on your brakes and you got to have your wits about you. They're not going to tell you such things. But when you are trained and ready for film, it's like you go to this highway with all these massive trucks and heavy traffic flying, and you can only start to drive. And unless you start to drive, you won't know which way to take or which vehicle to buy, which journey to make. And, you know, we're in an increasingly unpredictable world because someone like me, I've had 3 career changes: dance, film, social work. I still believe director of film and media is a social role because it's our college is a not-for-profit, and I believe that, you know, giving young people a good education is a very, very socially conscious role for me. So we prepare them for an increasingly unpredictable world with this basic visual storytelling and filmmaking process through practical understanding, creative feedback. And creative feedback is so important for creative people, not criticism, but to understand how to measure your creative ability so you can improve. And, you know, for every creative person, if you ask anyone in my family, which is your best movie, they'll say the next one. Because you're always thinking of bettering yourself. You're always thinking of growing and, you know, improving your art. And of course, to collaborate in teams, exposure to life and culture and mentorship. My motto is, and if I can give you one thing that can take away, is, you know, failures have been my greatest teachers. If you've said one hit after the other, between each hit, there were 7 flops. But in those 7 flops, I would have to answer myself at every release, answer myself every night. Today, I did my best. Whether my team could collaborate and make something that the audience appreciated, I don't know. But I did my best. So my greatest takeaway in life is don't be afraid to fail, but be afraid not to try. So on that, I will stop share here. Did I stop share? Okay. I think I've stopped share, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was my journey, and I hope I've been able to share a few takeaways for all of you, and I would love to hear from you.
Thank you so much. Like in the beginning, I said I'm speechless. Now, after listening to you and the whole story, I think I seriously need to think of words. But I am so there are so many questions coming in, guys, and I've just requested you to please make sure that you drop your question in the Q&A box. So till the time you do that, I think my first comment is everything is acceptable except one thing which you said, that there was a time, once upon a time, when you used to get angry. Looking at you, the way your personality, your aura is such, I can't even imagine someone like you can ever be in an angry mood, but rather than a lighter mode. But I think the first thing which comes to my mind, and I said, like, you wear so many hats. The every work what you've done, I think there's so much of passion, and thank you so much for this journey, because I started by saying the natural end result of being success is talent, passion, and hard work. We see all of this in whatever you do. How do you balance it? I mean, how do you prioritize it? Because for you, like, your heart and soul is with the Annapurna College, the Blue Cross of Hyderabad, and whatever you do. So how do you really balance it out? I mean, how do you say, okay, I have to give priority to this and to this, because everything is working well. And what we see on the face of it, like someone very successful, we know there are a lot of pains behind this, but at least that's what we see. So how do you do that?
Great question. You know, I used to be a big mess. And I think if you truly want to know about how angry I used to get, I have to connect you to Nagarjuna. Because only he will tell you, he's seen that side of me and said, look, this doesn't become of you. I know you are better, you are bigger than this. So yes, as actors, we learn to mask a lot of it. So the world sees one picture, but then reality is another. Let me say that, I'm so grateful. I have a soulmate, a companion, a life companion, and a husband like Nagarjuna. Incidentally, it's our 29th anniversary tomorrow.
Wow, congratulations, congratulations.
I was so glad you said 10th and not 11th. Otherwise, I would have said, sorry, Captain. Duty calls.
Got it. But congratulations.
Thank you. But it's a privilege to be married to someone like him, because he's very grounded, extremely balanced. Nothing raises him. He shouts, next minute he's laughing. He's a very what you see is what you get, and there is no pretenses. He listens. He was the first man I met who actually listened when a woman was talking. People call him a ladies' man, but they don't realize he's one of the few who have that quality. A lot of men just brush you off. And I grew up in India that does that. I didn't take offense, because I thought, well, they don't know the value of, Nari Shakthi. So they brush you off. But here was a man who would stop and he would listen, and he would, pay all the attention and to understand what you were trying to say. He may not agree with it, but, he would listen. Our friendship began like that. So being married to somebody so balanced and so down to earth, I think we complemented each other. When I would float off, he would reel me in and say, honey, sweetheart, I think. And then when I would fall down, he would lift me up. Every birthday, every anniversary, every important day in my life, he would give me a check, a big fat check, which would support my favorite cause. That was like, the icing on the cake. And I would cry, come back home crying, this is happening to this community, or this is happening in this issue. It is, how much do you need? And he would write me that check. And so it's great to have somebody that has your back, that has your base, and who doesn't misunderstand you. So if I was able to balance, it was only because I got so much support. And he never asked me to cook one day in his life. He said, I'll cook for you. So I had it really fortunate on my home base. That's what I can say.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being so candid. But like I said last time, also coincidentally, I'm lucky enough to spend few days with Nagarjuna when he was shooting way back in 90s, and I obviously felt at that point in time like someone at his level being so person on ground, like it was unbelievable. And I think that's the sort of connection one has, that people at that level also are so grounded. So I completely agree what you said. Though I may have many questions, but there are a lot of people there pinging me left, right, center. So maybe I'll allow these guys to come up. First question, coincidentally, we have a very senior gentleman here, Dr. Kanwarjeet Singh. He's from Chandigarh. He's a veterinary doctor, but again, he is the Joint Director of Animal Husbandry with Chandigarh Administration, and is also the General Secretary of, they call it SPCA, which is Society for Prevention to Cruelty to Animals. I think he's been very, very active person. There is a member here. So, Dr. Saab, over to you. I know you have been picking me, and I was waiting for the right opportunity. So,
Thank
you, Dr.
you.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Captain Sharma, for giving an opportunity to meet no doubt virtually, to meet such a great personality. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Dr.
Okay. So you gave us a really a lifetime opportunity, I can say. So we are meeting such a wonderful person, such a great actress, and such a great social worker. And I have I can't say the exact word for you, ma'am. Basically, a wonderful job, and you have told us whatsoever you are doing for a society. I really congratulate, and you are really blessed with such a power that you are giving your precious time for such a wonderful cause for a mankind and a animal kind. So, ma'am, actually, my interest is, as Captain Sharma has shared, that I am also a veterinarian basically, and now I am working with the Chandigarh administration. And as you are running a Blue Cross Society for animals in Hyderabad, and you have achieved such a great heights and doing a wonderful job, I just want to share something with you, which all the animal lovers actually want to share the things with the person like you who are working for such a long period with the animal kind. Basically, ma'am, we are also running one society for prevention of cruelty to animals. And here we are having a rehabilitation center in which we are keeping around 300 to 400 indoor animals. And we are treating every animal which need a treatment and all. Special care, we are keeping those animal indoor. There are a lot of animal mainly they are dogs which are carried from the street and in a bad shape. And we are having a large animal also, horse is also, wild animal also. The thing is, ma'am, I am really basically concerned when we used to do a many brainstorming session with the animal lover. Oftenly I talk to Menka Gandhi ji also in this regard. Basically, there are what I had felt, you must also be feeling, that we NGOs or government organizations, we are little bit failed in basically carrying out the awareness carried on with the public. Basically, public is still, people want to, people are convinced that it's okay, we should do this, we should give this and all. But actually, people are not coming forward. I don't know why it is this, what people used to say, stray dog manners. And we people, no doubt, we don't say it as a manners, because they are all are part of it. We all are part of this world and universe, and they these animals are also part of this life. So caring these, I could not really understand. If you want to share something with me, what is the exact solution, basically, to control this, what the people say, stray dog manners, stray dog animal, stray animal manners. What we should, sterilization and mass sterilization and other things, we are doing it. But somehow, what I personally, it is a human act to make the dog sterilize, and then forcefully, people are not very much keen to get it done. So I just want a from you with your experience. What is the message should collectively do to do something for this problem?
Thank you. This is a dilemma that all animal groups are facing across India. Dr. Kanwaljit Singh, thank you so much for your appreciation. And I must take this opportunity to say, Srimati Maneka Gandhi is the one who empowers and motivates the animal movement in India. I mean, we all really look up to her, and she's been a power horse and a mentor to all of us. She also instituted the Nari Shakthi Award, and she's the one who mobilizes this appreciation for women across the country. So having said that, I think across India, and we are seeing rapid urbanization, right? And this rapid urbanization is creating massive amounts of garbage. And garbage breeds stray dogs. Nature abhors a vacuum. Where there is food and there is space available, some creature will breed, and they will breed rapidly. And here we have a 50,000 year history with the dog. Human beings and dogs have a 50,000 documented years of history. It must have been much, much more before that. When we were cave dwellers, the dogs would stay outside the cave and protect us from wild animals, and we would throw them as scraps. And then when we became agriculturalists, they would look after our animals and our fields. And when we became urban dwellers, they would look after our streets. So we have this relationship with dogs that goes back in history, and they breed. And where there are humans, there will be dogs because they breed on our garbage. Now, so this is a scenario in which we need to find meaning, we need to find solutions, we need to find something that will work, a win-win for all. They used to kill the dogs, and most people still hate the dogs because they are afraid. This is what I said when I hear people criticize. I understand that it comes from fear, so we give them information. We said, we understand your fear. They've probably been bitten, or they've seen somebody been bitten, or there's been some case of rabies, and rabies can be a horrible experience. If you see an animal with rabies or somebody gets rabies, it's death, it's sure death. So we are in the pandemic, we understand how virus spreads, and rabies is a deadly virus. So Government of India, WHO did these studies. They gave this very scientific solution. Like in the pandemic, they've said, wear a mask, get vaccinated, keep social distancing, right? It's simple. For the rabies virus, they say, vaccinate all the population. if you can reach 70% vaccination, you've eradicated rabies. And I never believed this until I went to the UK and I went to Australia, where they've eradicated it. They don't have that fear of rabies. So we just need to pursue this vaccination program. But vaccination alone is not enough if the breeding is going on, right? So they said, while vaccination is the only way we can beat this virus, we must control the breeding because they're prolific breeders and there's plenty of garbage. So municipalities must do two things. Citizens must do two things. Control your garbage, regulate your garbage, make sure you have solid waste management systems in place, and sterilize the dog. Who sterilizes the dog? Animal welfare groups like us, SPCAs like yourself, municipal corporations. They can hire vets and do the sterilization. But the sterilization must go along with awareness as well, because everybody needs to participate. You see, I found that with the coronavirus, the COVID-19 itself, when I asked people, have you been vaccinated? They said, no. I'm protected. I believe everything will be safe. No, I don't like all these allopathic medicines. I use only nature cure. And I respect that. But what they also need to understand is a vaccine is a scientific way to deal with the population that's exposed to a virus. And so you need to bring in some of the science. At that time, you can't make it a fight. So Kanwajit Singh, this is for you. We need to bring the science out more. We need to listen to people's problems and make sure those communities get solutions. We need to up our game with the ABC program. ABC meaning animal birth control. So after 25 years of doing everything, like all other groups are doing in India, we had a massive epidemic outbreak in our shelter because about 1,000-1,200 animals, sick animals were being dumped every month, and they were infecting each other, cross-infecting each other. And we know with the pandemic that two people get together, one may communicate to the other one gets sick, they could have a cytokine storm and could die, or they could be absolutely asymptomatic and wander around spreading it to others. The same happens with animals as well. The same happens with animals and viruses. There'll be the healthy ones who don't show any sign of it, spreading it to others, and there'll be the ones who are sick, slightly weak immunity, and they will succumb to it and die. So we had this outbreak after outbreak after outbreak, and we begged people, please don't bring unvaccinated animals to the shelter. They will die, but people wouldn't listen. So finally, one day we had to shut everything because all the animals were dying. We put a sign on our gate, we locked it, and somebody else has asked, when did you fail? Can you share? This is where we failed. I'm sharing a failure story. We failed miserably, because we couldn't convince people the value of vaccination. We couldn't convince people not to bring animals and put them in one place.
Yes, ma'am, that is the thing which
Doctor, sorry. So I know this is all about passion.
Yeah, Captain.
But there are so many questions coming in from all across.
Yeah.
Like you said. So
I know. This is endless. I know this is endless.
So
I would
I
personally,
maybe
in this time.
But doctor, this is what we did. We suspended all other activities.
Yeah.
All the other activities we suspended, and today we only focus on bringing down the numbers of stray dogs.
Great.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great idea, ma'am.
Every 1,000 dogs we sterilize every month reduces 200,000 in the future. You have to do it scientifically. You have to use a massive awareness campaign and do it. I know you can. And please send your team to Hyderabad. I'm inviting your team to Hyderabad. Come visit us. And
definitely, ma'am. I will come there and meet you. Yeah, it will be a pleasure. You also come to Chandigarh sometime and see our organization also. Huh?
Thank you,
so we
Doctor.
can
Thank you
share
so
the things
much. And
further.
sorry, since we are on
Thank
this
you so much,
topic,
ma'am.
we have another doctor, Dr. Vishal. He is a deputy director again from Government of Uttaranchal. And I'm so sorry. I know we are running short of time, guys. My request is please be precise on your question. Over to you, Dr. Vishal. Dr. Vishal, maybe you're on mute. If you can unmute.
Yes, good evening, ma'am. Myself, Dr. Vishal Sharma, and I am very happy to see such a big personality from background of film industry and all that, and doing such a noble work for speechless animals. So I appreciate and all that. And I am very much surprised how you are cool and looking after around 5 lakhs animals. That is a very great job, ma'am. What I want to say, in our Uttarakhand state, we are having around 55 animal shelters like Goshadan and Goshala in all the districts of Uttarakhand, and maintaining around 10,000 animals, stray animals over there. And we had gone for sterilization of around 33,000 animals for last in the last 4 years. And we are vaccinating the dogs for anti-rabies also. So it's my request that the person like you should also increase your working area from other than Hyderabad and come to this Dehradun or Uttarakhand state also, so that we can get a lot of guidance from you also. And my only concern is whether when we take care of stray animals, and out of stray animals, most of them are of Indian breeds. So I just want to give a message to you, if we can also promote for adopting an Indian dog breed also. Otherwise, most of the people are just adopting an exotic dog breeds. So if this can be incorporated, I think that would be a great help towards the Indian dog breed also. Just that's like my suggestion to you, ma'am. That's all from my side.
Very nice to connect with you, sir. You might be interested to know my father has, for the last 30 years, he has a home in Kholiabanj in Uttarakhand. This is in Almora district, up in the mountains near Dunagiri. And I go regularly to visit him there. All the villages, they have the Pahadi dogs. They're the beautiful mountain dogs. Yeah, but yes.
Yeah. They're very sturdy breed, so sometimes I feel like we should also promote adopting these dogs also.
Yes, yes. And they're free spirits. You can't put them in a city apartment. These, yeah, but I agree with you completely. We also run a adoption program, and we have a beautiful network of foster caregivers. You know, when we find a mother needs to be sterilized, her puppies are say 3-4 months old, they go into a foster care network where they start getting accustomed to human beings, and then they become, when they're fed at somebody's house, they become nice and plump, and it's very easy to find them homes. So it's about how you package them. We give it with 1/2 kilo of pedigree pet food, and the puppy that's nicely plumped up and smelling great and accustomed to human beings, and then they're adopted like that. But the mountain dog, you're right, it's very
just like now we are realizing, then Indian cattle breeds milk is of more nutritional value, like just A2 milk. So that, like, what I think, we are just adopting exotic dog breeds. We should also highlight the qualities of Indian dog breeds. They are also good guard dogs. They are more resistant to the changes in the environment, and they can be trained easily also. It might take few more days to train them in comparison to exotic breeds. So if we can think over in that area also, it will be a good noble work towards Indian breeds also. That's my personal opinion.
I hear you, sir. I agree with you completely. I have 4 Indian dogs and 2 breed dogs. The breed dogs are my son. The 4 Indian dogs were adopted by me. I never have to take them to the vet. Their once a year vaccination is enough. They keep my house safe, like the Bank of, State Bank of India. But my 2 breed dogs, I mean, they're very dear, but they have to go to the vet all the time, and they'll welcome anybody into the house. So
that's good. That's good to hear a person like you. If they are rearing 2 or 3 local breeds, Indian dog breeds, that's really good. and everybody should follow this.
Great, Dr. Vishal, thank you so much. And I'm so sorry, ma'am. I know we have taken extra time. So there's a lot of questions coming in. I'll just pick up one which was pretty interesting. Someone has asked, why Blue Cross? What was the reason of this Blue as a name? Any story behind that? Like,
yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I'm an actor and a dancer. I'm not a choreographer. I'm not a designer. So I deliver. You give me a role, I will deliver what needs to be done. I'll assess and deliver. But the term Blue Cross is used for veterinary services. You know, where you say Red Cross means some human doctors available. If you see a cross in red, you know there's a human doctor there. If you see a cross in blue, you know it's a veterinary doctor. So it originated from that. And Blue Cross of India is the first Blue Cross, which is over 60 years old, and it was started in Chennai. I used to volunteer there as a child. You see, all through my years in Kalakshetra, I rescued my first animal as a 6-year-old. And lucky for me, my mother didn't say dirty, don't bring it home and all. She just rolled her eyes and she gave me some cardboard box in the storeroom and she said, okay, this is, take care of it. And my journey with animals started there. And Blue Cross of India was a beautifully set up organization. I volunteered with them. So when I started here, I naturally turned to them to help me understand how to start it. And then they immediately said, yes, you can be our sister organization. You can be Blue Cross of Hyderabad. And that's how the name came. Yeah.
Great. So no, I think Blue Cross was known to, because this came from someone from Raipur. So I just thought, let me ask this question quickly. Maybe we have few people on the call, maybe 2-3 more questions. Sorry, guys. We need to then close this. We have already taken an extra time. So Captain Niren, you wanted to ask a question from Bangalore. Captain Niren, over to you. Captain Niren, you are on mute. Jatin, if you can unmute, please. Okay, till that time we hear Captain Niren.
I don't see Captain Niren's there in the
list. He's just dropped. He was pinging me. He's just dropped. Not an issue. Colonel Prabhakar, over to you. You have a question. Colonel Ashok Prabhakar.
Yeah. Am I being heard just now?
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. It's been wonderful hearing you. I think we're blessed that we got this opportunity to hear you today. It couldn't have been a better way of spending today's evening, and it does prepare us for the future also. I'm sure this activity doesn't close here. In fact, starts from here. I appreciate, ma'am, the empathy that you have for animals, empathy that you have all around for the complete society. What to also understand, some of us have over a period of time learned, change our manners, turned vegetarian, even looking at being a vegan. Stopped using leather products, those kind of things, doing our little bit in our own little ways. What advice, ma'am, could we have from you, more that one can do? Or, additionally, I also want to ask, in our country, we understand cow is a mother and we pray the holy cow, and this animal also looks after us so much. But somehow you also find on the streets, our cities across the country, you find stray cows, and of course a lot of bulls all on the road. What can be done for that? Of course, there are quite a few gaushalas also. I keep going to the gaushalas and I find they don't want to keep these bulls over there. They don't want to keep the stray bulls there because they sort of torture the cows over there. So just looking at some answers from you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Ashok. So the People for Animals website has a lot of information there. I won't take more time to give basic information on animal welfare, but they have a lot of valuable information there. Humane Society India website also has a lot of valuable information. And they also run online courses. So anybody wants to take it to the next level, you can do this online course and understand what are the services, where do you get training, how can you put a team together, You know, what are the norms? So there's a lot of stuff out there. I'd say please explore, and they are more updated than me, you know, because they're upgrading it every day as we speak. But if you truly want to put in a practice as a conscious citizen, a conscious human being, I think a sustainable lifestyle, a sustainable living, these are things which will help across the world. It'll help. I mean, we have the UN 17 development goals all looking at that, and sustainable living, sustainable lifestyle is a very big way you can make that shift. And to what extent you make that shift is your choice. You may make one step 1 year, and then you may up your game and make a larger step the next year. I am no saint. I am no preacher. I am no saint. I go through the same struggle. I look and then I say, what was I thinking? I open my cupboard and I see all these saris hanging and these clothes hanging. So what was I thinking? You know, the pandemic has made us need so simple. Below my tunic, I have my track pants on. We are living in a simplified world. What were we thinking before? So it has also given us this wake-up call to start thinking sustainable. I would add, which is what I like to add, 1 day a week, do it in service. Some service, just dedicate that 1 day a week, you'll be a volunteer. And I don't go as a director. I mean, when I go for social service, I don't go as so-and-so board member. I go as volunteer. Jo bhi kaho, jo bhi karna hai, I'm ready. Even if it's to clean the dirtiest part of the city, I'm ready as a Swachh Bharat volunteer. So I go as a volunteer. That is service. If you dedicate 1 day in a week to service, you will grow, you will contribute. The other thing is 1 day in a week for a plant-based lifestyle, where you step away, because at least that will make a huge change. You know, it will bring your carbon footprint down. It will bring your cruelty footprint down. It will bring a lot of things down. 1 day a week plant-based diet, 1 day a week service, and 1 hour a day meditate. That's upping your game.
Thank you so much, ma'am. There's a lot of people, especially from Hyderabad and other places, they're saying, how can we partner with you on this noble cause? So, like I said, we have multiple chapters pan-India, and we have chapters all across. A lot of people are now writing saying, can we find out if we need to really partner, how can we partner on this noble cause? So any way how people can get connected to this?
So think of me as a fellow volunteer. What I can do is I can share my story. I can share how we do it. But the actual power comes when you can generate the energy to do it yourself. Because I think finally, to reach your goal, you have to be ready and you have to be capable of generating such energy that everything in your plan will go wrong. Everybody will come to stop you. Your money will run out, your energy will run out, your belief will run out, your hope will run out. People will criticize you. Everything that you thought was, you know, you were going to get naam, roshan, and whatever will collapse, and people will abuse you. And yet you will have to generate energy, and it is only you who can do that. And it is only when you can do that that you will reach your goal.
Very powerful, ma'am. Very powerful, and I completely agree what you said. All said and done, it looks pretty easy, but guys, what she said, I think we all know, and that's the life's reality. So I think you have the answer. If you really want to do something, answer is with you only. You guys can really take that up. And since it's already 7:17, I will not take much time with yours, ma'am. Last one question I'll pick up. So Kapil Khera, you wanted to have a question? Please shoot. Okay, since Kapil, we can't hear you. Rahul Lal.
He's not there too.
Kapil or Rahul?
Both.
Okay, great. So on that note, ma'am, I think there are multiple questions coming in. I can just read it out. A lot of people appreciating. Thank you so much for your time. People can't really even think. And I think the best part, what everyone has mentioned is that mindset of someone like you at the helm, and the way you conducted the session, like everyone felt very connected. And everyone's just saying thanks and thanks, and pleasure to hear experience of great ladies. Salute. Okay, one interesting. How did you convince your family members to support your initiative? Like you spoke about that. So, moment I heard family, I thought, let me ask this question, but you have already spoken about that. Beautiful thought, simple living, high thinking, superb. You are just too good, man. So, there are a lot of people who were your fans to an extent, seeing you as a star, but I think today they have seen other side of you. So, people are really thankful, grateful to you. Again, I think on behalf of the GACS as a fraternity, as a community with 6,000 plus people. And today we said we will have a restricted session. We really wanted to have 100 odd people. But since there were so many registrations, we opened it till 150 plus. We said, okay, first time we'll do it. On that note, I'll request Samir Saxena, who is the General Secretary of GACS. Samir, closing note from your side.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And thank you, Amla, ma'am. Thank you so much for being here with us, for taking time. You know, there were a couple of takeaways as far as I'm concerned. In fact, a couple of lines that struck me. In service, I found purpose, satisfaction, and meaning. And I think it connected me very well to one of the sayings from Jack Canfield, which says, I believe that each one of us is born with a life purpose, right? So I think I strongly connected with this. And to be very honest, looking at your journey from being naval background to rigor in dancing, to moving into films, Nari Shakthi Award, post-marriage, Blue Cross, meditation, Annapurna, you know, I think so much. And again, I could connect with another perhaps quote which came in from Mark Twain, which said the two most important days of your life is the day when you were born and the day that you discovered the reason why. And I think I could figure that out. So thank you once again, Amla ma'am, for taking out time today. I am very sure that the entire audience had a great opportunity today to understand from you various perspectives of lives. And absolutely, with all honesty, I have taken few valuable advice from you for myself. So thank you once again, and it has been a pleasure to see you here, ma'am.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure as well.
And once again, ma'am, congratulations once again for the anniversary tomorrow. Have
Yes,
a great time.
Thank
we will
you.
see how best, whichever way we can connect in future, that will be great. We are really obliged, honored to have you with us. Thank you so much for your time. And thanks everyone for joining in. We'll sign off now.